Hello and welcome to the Tinkercats video gallery. Today we are going to do a multi-layered card, which is going to be my design team project for the November challenge at Stamplations, and the theme is stamps and layers. And I'm working with the Joyful set, which is the current Stamp Club set, and I'm going to use the lilac background here from my Spotlight project when I used a jelly plate. I'll put the link into my blog, and I'm also going to use a couple of bits which I've actually used before and pre-coloured, and it's sometimes quite nice to bring things back together. So I had done a while ago for the jelly plate project actually. I coloured a couple of the stockings from the Joyful set, and this one here is from my Spotlight project with the collage card, the Writing Home for Christmas. It's the leftover from the embossed piece I used. So I'm also going to show you how I did the stamping on that. And so I'll just bring a few bits together here. Now, we're first going to start with this piece here, because it will be easier to work with it, sort of having it flattened for the subtle embossing. I'm just going to slightly distress it a little bit before I put it through for the through my Big Shot again to flatten it out. And I'm going to work with and as you might notice, I'm using scrap paper again for sort of going underneath, so it's just a good use of something. I'm just going to use my River Rock, and I'm going to swipe the ink pad across to pick up the lines in it. And I think at this point that is all I'm going to do, and then I'm going to pop it through the Big Shot. And in order to flatten out the embossing that has been done, because sometimes it can feel a bit too chunky and too dominant, I'll just sandwich it between my plates and pop it through to flatten it out. And part of me wanting to do the flattening out before I'm going to use this is because the stamps I'm going to use are slightly wider than the embossed pattern, so I want it to be flattened out so that they stamp better on it. So just bear with me for a moment. Right, so this is slightly flattened now, but still keeping the pattern. It's not as raised as it was, and that would be absolutely perfect for stamping on now. So I'm going to get my card back, just the one bit here. So first what I'm going to do is, it's going to be about here on my square card. That's where the stocking will be. So I'm just placing these in situ, and then I'm going to do a little bit of stamping with a darker colour to build up another layer in a way onto, because I'm going to stamp half on here and half on my paper. So it's sort of like a false layer in a way that comes across, and I'm going to do that in a darker colour than the paper is. So I want one to go on here, so it will be something like, I want that to go a bit at a slight angle later, so I want it to go something like this to go across. that will be my point for aligning my topper later on. So I'm only going to do that the ones here. And it hasn't fully stamped, never mind. These sort of things happen, so I'll just go along with it. I should have put my stamping mat underneath and it would have given me a better imprint around the edges. So I'll just go over this again, and it will just add a couple of layers to my paper already in a way. Because what it does, it pushes the white sort of pattern from the jelly plate printing into the background, and you're just getting another one here. I should ink this up better. I think I'm trying to be a little bit too quick here probably for what I normally do. I think this should be it. So I just sort of turn this around and just do something there. So by sort of, if you have like something that's partially stamped and then you stamp over it again, you sort of give it another illusion of layers and paper and sort of like the collage type of layering. So I can just do this probably here or with that. Just trying to turn this now to see where this might come in best. Never mind. It just hasn't worked quite out the way I wanted it to, unless it could come in here quite well actually, so I'll leave it at that. So that's going to be my topper for the moment. I need my ink again, and I need my sentiment now. So just bear with me for a moment. Now, to do my sentiment stamping, I actually used my new tool, which is called Misty. So I'm just going to place them roughly where I want them to go. So that's where the stocking is going to be. And then we got season's greetings. No, that needs to go higher. Something like that. Okay, so I'm going to take my paper away now and I'll get the Misty out. Let's just see what I'm going with here. And I'm just hoping that this is going to work now. So I got my grid paper in, but it's not the original grid paper, so I don't tend to use it working with the grid paper as much. At the moment, I'm relatively new to using this, so I'm still getting used to it. So this was me doing some stamping beforehand for some other projects. I'm going to get my piece of card that I got prepared and pop it in. So let's just line these up, and I'm just going to pop these bits onto slightly weigh it down so it's not going to move. And I'm just going to fold the lid over to pick up my stamps. And because you've got a grid pattern as well on the lid, that then gives you an indication of how straight they are, and you can always slightly adjust them so this stays where it is. And all I simply do is get my ink up my stamps, and then I can stamp that into position exactly where it needs to go. Yep, that's where I want it to go. And I'm just rubbing it slightly. And then I lift it off and it's perfect. So just wipe those stamps and then I'll take them off again and put my tool to one side. And this is exactly how I've stamped the text in the Writing Home for Christmas one. It was quite easy to align them then on the grid pattern here and then just flip it over, and for the second block I just moved my piece of card into position really, rather than moving the stamps again, because I knew they were relatively straight aligned and where they needed to go. For that piece actually I picked the ones that didn't have any G's in or whatever, that were just sitting neatly within the lines. But had I flattened it before, I could have used other stamps as well. But at that point I still thought I was going to use the full embossed pattern rather than the subtle embossed one. So that's back here. Just put the stamps out of the way. I have my paper back. So we got this, we got these here. And I was going to slightly blend the edges for both. So if I use a brush, and I'm going to use a lilac. I'm just going to use the same colour but just a little bit, just using the Elegant Eggplant, the dark one, rather than any of the lighter ones, because I think that will sort of give it quite a nice bit of depth. So, and all I do is just slightly brush along the edges. You don't need any pressure at all. And especially with dark colours, you really don't need much else. So it's a new brush, so the bristles do tend to break off a little bit. So I'm just going to run the edges across my ink pad too, to just give them a little bit more definition. So that is one, and I'm going to do my piece of paper here as well. And even sort of like when you blend these edges in, that in itself will sort of add some depth, and sort of almost as if you have like a border layer just on there. And I'm not doing much because I don't want it to be overly sort of blended and darkened. I wanted to keep its original colour more or less. So that is that. Get this out of the way. Right, so which way did I have it? So this goes sort of here. Now I've got to decide now whether I want to have a green layer underneath. So I'm going to get my card more or less like into position where I want things to go. Is that going to look okay? No, that green doesn't look right there. So I think I might just leave it as is, unless I find I can just get hold of some dark lilac one. I'm not quite sure if I've got any handy. That could be used size-wise. No, just bear with me a second. I've got one that is not quite as dark, but it was quite handy. So if I do that, no, it just wouldn't look right. So I'm just going to stick with my layers the way they are. So, do I want some more snowflakes around here? That was an option that I had mused about. Do I want a little bell, anything else to go on? Or just some little stars? Let me just see. I've got some little stars here, haven't I? I think I just add some sparklies and I'm going to stick this as it's into position. I don't think it needs anything else. So let me just get some double-sided tape out. The best way. Yeah, this actually almost looks as if this white wreath is just going to come in and it's going to get darkened there. Okay. Right, that's me rumbling again. Never mind. Let's get these ready. So you can see with the darker stamping and the white and the print where the wreath was in white, it sort of looks as if there is like a floating layer of darker wreath above the colours, above the coloured background. And then the white seems to be absolutely in the background. So it almost looks as if you've got 3 layers on here, whereas it's just like a single layer. All right. So just add this. Okay. There we go. And then this goes in here. I think I'll use some glue for that. It gives me a bit more time to put it into position. So I want this to be with a slight movement. And this will be on little foamy bits. I should have some here somewhere. Oops, where have they gone? Just bear with me a sec, I'll get some. a little bit, which I had a piece that got cut off at some point. So just put that in the middle to give it a little bit more stability when I stick it down. Now, when I do layers, sort of somehow I tend to like actually to keep them relatively flat, just simply because it's a bit easier at times for postage. This goes here, and then all I have to do is add some sparklies, some stars. Let's just see. I've got some pre-cut punched shapes here. Let's just see, there's just going to be sprinkles. Let's leave that for a moment. I'll get some other bits out because I want some sparkle on here. Because it is Christmas, I want something that is sparkly. So I've got some silver snowflakes there. These don't look right with it. Got some of these. Time to put some blue in as well. I think these could do too. Slightly different size. Let's just get some of those out. And let's see if any of these silver ones are going to be quite good as snowflakes. Or are they going? No, that is not going to look right. At least not in this light. Let's put it like that. So I'll leave them. So let's put these on the side, and then I'll just try and see where they want to go. I don't want it to be too busy, because sometimes when you put layers on, it can, so whatever you do can start to look a bit busy, and I don't particularly like that. So that goes somewhere else, or it needs to be a smaller one. Nope. Want that there, yeah. I think I'm going to put some sparkle onto the stars anyway. Okay, go there. I think I'll do something like that, and then I put some glitter glue onto the stars, and I was also going to do some little dots with the liquid pearls. So let's see where I'm going to go with that then. Right, let's put this out of the way. Just move things into position here. Okay, I know this is going to be a longer one, but I mean, you can always sort of tune out once you've seen what you wanted to see. Here we go. So I would say even by as if you use punched shapes to add as embellishment, it's almost like as if you're adding even with those another layer sort of that seems to be sort of floating above a little bit, sort of like a sprinkling. Right, let's see. I got these liquid pearls. It's silver pearls. I'm just let me just see. Just wanted to add a little bit to the stocking here. Oh, that's a bit big, never mind. It will just get covered. So now let's just see what I can do here. Or maybe putting some glitter on. I better put this out of the way. So let's get some glitter on it. I got some relatively fine glitter here, which I'm just going to sprinkle over. And if you use liquid pearls with glitter, it because it's the pearls, it raises it up slightly. It actually looks, it catches the light better, and the glitter tends to look more sparkly. So I should think that this is pretty much enough for today. So thank you for watching, and I shall see you soon. Okay, thanks, have a lovely day, bye.